The elevator should have gone from the ER to the ICU. Nothing in between. And yet, at exactly 3:17 a.m., it stopped. And the doors opened to a floor that doesn't exist. There was no ding. No indicator light. Just a faint electrical hum, and a cold wind I couldn't explain. The panel showed level 3. But our hospital only has 2 working floors and the roof. I stepped out. Dim, yellow fluorescence buzzed overhead. The hallway looked wrong. Peeling lead paint, faded signs pointing to maternity. And an old nurse's station abandoned mid-shift. Phones left off the hook. A coffee mug with dried lipstick. A chair slowly spinning. A nurse in a starched white uniform crossed my path. Old school 1950s style. Cap, shoes, and all. She didn't make eye contact. Just whispered, "Don't follow the crying past the nursery. They're still waiting to go home." I turned back. The elevator doors were gone. Where there should have been a lift shaft, just smooth plaster, cracked with time. My chest tightened. Something was deeply wrong. The air smelled of antiseptic and burnt paper. A baby cried. Soft at first. Then louder. Down a side corridor, I found a room labeled Discharge, Pediatric. Inside were bassinets. Dozens. Covered in dust. Each had a name tag. My flashlight flickered. But not before I read the last one. Unnamed male. Admitted July 3, 1963. My birth date. My feet moved before I could think. Another hallway. This one narrower. As I passed framed staff photos, one caught my eye. Year, 1962. My face. Among a row of nurses. Same eyes. Same tired smile. Then came the static. Loud in my ears. I pressed my palms against my head to block it out. A door ahead opened on its own. Inside, an office. Neatly kept. Papers stacked. A chart on the desk. My name. Patient number 303. Unresolved transfer. The crying returned. But now it was behind me. Closer. A lullaby. Played on an unseen speaker. Off key. Slowed down. I turned, heart pounding. And the hallway was gone. Just blackness. I opened the office door, desperate. Blinding light. Then, impact. Cold floor. My head hit something metal. Voices above me. Familiar. I woke up in the basement. Security said I was missing for 4 hours. They found me holding a black and white photograph. The hospital maternity wing. Date stamped, 1962. My handwriting scrawled. On the back, still waiting. The elevator works fine now. No glitches. No third floor. But sometimes, on the night shift, the panel lights up by itself. Level 3. Just for a second. Then it's gone. I stopped taking elevators. I don't work nights anymore. But I still hear it. The crying. Just beneath the floorboards. As if something. Or someone. Never left. End of story. The 3rd floor doesn't exist. She kept asking for her children. Said they were in the fire. But when we checked her records, we found something far more disturbing. She was the fire. I was covering an overtime shift in the burn unit when they wheeled her in. 87 years old. 3rd-degree burns across 80% of her body. She was silent, except for one phrase. "Where are my children?" She'd whisper it, over and over, with lips so charred they barely moved. No next of kin listed. No family. No visitors. Just her. Eyes wide. Burning with something deeper than pain. Every time I entered her room, I'd smell fresh smoke, not antiseptic. Not chemicals. Wood. Charcoal. Burning fabric. But no one else smelled it. And every night, the fire alarms near her room would glitch. Just hers. One night, I stayed late to chart. I passed her room and heard children laughing. Clear. High-pitched. But when I stepped inside, silence. And she was staring at the ceiling with a smile. She whispered, "They came to visit tonight." The next day, I dug through her medical history. She had been a survivor of a house fire. 1956, lost her husband. Lost all 3 children. But here's the horror. She was listed in the police report as the prime suspect for setting it. Arson. They never convicted her. Too much smoke. Not enough evidence. But I found the fire chief's handwritten note. She didn't survive that fire. She brought it with her. On her final night, she screamed for hours. Not in pain but rage. "They're burning again," she shouted. "Why won't they stop screaming?" Then, silence. She coded. But before the flatline, monitors captured a final reading, body temp, 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Impossible. She should have combusted. When we unwrapped the bandages, her skin was smooth. Unburned. As if the fire had taken something else with it. Or someone. She asked where her children were. Maybe she wasn't looking for the living. Maybe she was waiting for the fire to take her home. There are codes. We follow them. Medical codes. Moral codes. But in room 309, none of them worked. Because the men in that bed had already died. Twice. Dim hospital corridor. A nurse walks alone. The distant beep of monitors echoes. Time, 3:13 a.m. As an ER nurse, I've seen all kinds of horror. Blood-soaked gunshot victims. Mothers sobbing in corridors. Addicts whispering for one last dose. But nothing ever chilled me to my core until the men in room 309. It was the night shift. The kind of night that feels like the walls are breathing with you. That strange, dead air when time stretches. We had just stabilized a car crash victim in Trauma Bay 2. And as I passed 309, I felt it. Like static on my skin. And cold. Freezing cold. Despite the broken thermostat that usually kept that hallway boiling. He had no ID. Found collapsed on the sidewalk. Mid-40s, pale, severely hypothermic. But what caught my attention was his skin. It looked gray. Not the shock kind of pale. It looked drained. Like he'd been embalmed. He wasn't conscious when he arrived. But when I leaned over to check his vitals, his eyes snapped open. Jet black. No scara. Just black. Like 2 deep holes punched into his skull. I stumbled backward. The vitals. Flatline. No pulse. No oxygen saturation. No BP. The monitor said he was clinically dead. But his eyes tracked me. He watched me. I panicked, called the code. Staff rushed in. Crash cart. Chest compressions. Defibrillator pads. I told them. He opened his eyes. They looked at me like I'd lost it. Dr. Keller, seasoned, unshakable, checked the monitor. No pulse. No cardiac activity. Pupils unresponsive. He called time of death, 3:26 a.m. We zipped him in the body bag. But as they wheeled him toward the basement elevator, I swear I heard it. From inside the bag. A whisper. Don't leave me in the dark. Roughly 30 minutes later, a new trauma was being rolled in. I was returning to station, trying to calm my nerves. When I heard code gray called on the PA. That's security emergency. Guess where? Room 309. I ran. What I saw shattered every piece of logic in my mind. The body bag was on the floor unzipped. The man was sitting up in the bed. Wires dangling from his arms. Smiling. 2 security guards stood frozen in the doorway. One of them, a former Marine, later resigned that week. The man looked straight at me. His smile dropped. And then, he screamed. Not like a person. Like an animal cornered. Guttural. Agonizing. Lights burst. Alarms went haywire. All at once. then flatline again. He collapsed. We pronounced him dead for the second time at 4:01 a.m. Later, we tried to locate records. Dental. Fingerprints. Anything. Nothing. But here's the thing. When I opened the ER report to update it, someone had already typed a note in his chart. It read, "He warned you." Typed in black, bold font. No one could trace it. Not the admin team. Now, no one uses room 309. Even the cleaners skip it. The door stays locked. Always. But sometimes, when you're walking past on a quiet night, you hear knocking. 3 slow knocks. Like someone wants out. We heal the living. We comfort the dying. But some patients are never meant to be touched. And room 309 is a scar on this hospital that never heals.